For example, if I define a function f of x to be x plus 3 and I call f of 5, this function will evaluate to 8, right? I'm going to pass 5 to the function and it evaluates to 8. I can create another function called g of x, and I can define g of x to be 2 times x. And if I call g with the value of 5, it will evaluate to 10 because 2 times 5 is 10. Well, I can even get more tricky, and I can nest function calls, right? So I can say f of g of 2. And just like in math, the inner set of parentheses will be evaluated first. So first we will evaluate g of 2. G of 2 would be 2 times x, which would be 4. So this part would evaluate to 4, and then that would get passed to f. And f of 4 will evaluate to 7 because 4 plus 3 is 7. So keeping that in mind, let's work through this pseudocode problem. So in this example, I have 3 functions, bar and foo, and here's my main function. So we'll start with our main function. The first statement creates a variable x and assigns it 3.0, and then we create y and assign it 0.0. And then on line 25, we're going to call bar because this is just like math, we'll do the inner function call first, and we're going to pass bar a copy of our x variable, which is 3. So bar is called, it creates a parameter x, and it will have 3.0 because that's what we've passed it from main. And then I'm going to go ahead and create a y variable. And then on line 4 it says set y to x plus 1. So 3 plus 1 is 4, and I'll store that into y. And then return y. This is a value returning function, so it will return the contents of y, which is 4.0. So bar of x in our main function evaluates to 4.0. And then we're going to take that 4.0 and pass it to foo. So then foo is called, and it creates a parameter x, and it will hold the value that we've just passed, which is 4.0, and we'll declare a variable y. And then on line 14, we're going to call bar again twice and add those results together. So in foo, our x variable has 4. So I'm going to pass 4 up to bar, and then bar's x will have a 4.0. And since we're calling bar, new variables are created, so the y gets recreated on line 2. And then it says set y to the contents of x plus 1. So y gets 5.0, and then we'll return y. So the call was on line 14. So this first call to bar evaluated to 5.0. And then we're going to call bar again. Now, keep in mind that in the foo function, x is still 4.0. So we're going to pass 4.0 up to bar again and do the same thing again. So I'll go ahead and delete those variables. And when we call bar from foo, 4.0 is passed again. Then we create our y, and then we're going to set y to x plus 1. So y again gets 5.0. And then on line 6, it's return. So on line 14, the second call of bar x also returned 5.0, which is not surprising. So then we're going to take those two results and then add them together and store it in y. So that would be 10.0. And then on line 16, we're going to return the contents of y. So we're going to return the 10.0. So where we called foo was on line 25. So foo, when we passed it 4.0, it returned 10.0. So we would take that value, store it into y, and then display y. So the only thing that would be displayed is 10.0.